Hey there, everybody. Thank you for being here. Happy launch day, Frey. It's about time, yo. Oh boy, the book that kind of interconnects everything and makes the greater lore make all much more sense. See you in a moment. Eighth publication. Wow. It's been a while, Frey. Yeah, so welcome on in, everybody. This is kind of a pop-up, impromptu, informal. I'm probably moving away from doing launch day live streams here in the future for various reasons. There's a lot going on. So I mostly wanted to say thank you all for the support. And definitely wanted to say thank you to the team who has, in a way, made this possible, whether they realize or not. I am very grateful for all of their input and all of their support. I definitely came across this idea long before y'all ever knew it existed. It originally was a lost chapter to book 2, Bound by Oath and Heart, and my then editor, whom I at this time no longer work with, she insisted that I couldn't include one random chapter from Frey's POV, that I had to use that as like a marketing item. Well, it became a whole novella, go figure. So definitely wanted to hop up and just read one chapter today, the opening chapter that kind of not really started this leg of the journey. So where does this story exactly pick up? I believe chapter 18. Where's my copy of book 2? Because I did mark it. I believe it's the start of chapter 18 in book 2 of Bound by Oath and Heart. Yes. In chapter 18, there's a big plot point spoiler that happens. In that plot point spoiler, one character goes missing and one character is unalived, and Frey has to deal with the fallout from that. So we're going to kind of see the pickup of, well, where the fallout led him to be. So, chapter 1. Where am I? Who am I? The sky above was too bright, and his head hurt beyond compare. Pulling himself to standing, he had to block his eyes from the sun above and its scorching light. A quick survey of the horizon showed a path leading away from the beach, but it was on the other side of a hill from where he awoke. What is this place? Why is the sun so hot? Glancing through the recent index of his memory, he could only find blackness and emptiness, aloneness. A swirling mesh of black and red glitter hazed over faces, and something that could only be compared to harsh winter winds silenced voices he once recognized. Rubbing his temples, he asked the unanswering air, "Who am I? I do not remember my name." Adjusting his collar, he popped his black coat over his head to shield his silvery hair and mahogany eyes from pain raining on him in the sun's glorious rays. Trudging through the grass, he tripped through his feet and stumbled on rocks until he made his way to the road. The soles of his feet hurt as the cobblestones tortured his shoes into ripping completely. Shedding them and recovering his head with the coat, he continued to force himself towards the smoke, curling in the distance. Please, let that be a friend. Tripping and rolling onto his side in the shade of a tree, he groaned. Laying on his back, he looked at the blue sky through the branches and leaves. Everything blurred. The feeling of nothingness and detachment from himself was as alarming as he thought it could have been. If he rested for a time, maybe the haze would disappear. The pounding in the back of his head hurt worse and not better. Counting backwards, he could feel the pain subside and his breathing regulated. That was the key. Frey! He ignored the masculine voice yelling a name he didn't recognize in the distance. Even more, he breathed and focused and breathed. The headache dulled, only to spike when a male's voice raced closer and bellowed louder. Frey! Frey! There you are! Who are you looking for? He asked. You, silly. Black robes, black hair, red eyes, and black wings hovered over the silvery blonde in the dirt. I am Frey? What kind of name is that, and what kind of being are you? The male didn't reply at first. Instead, his eyes contracted as he glowered down at the blonde. You do not know who you are, or who I am? No, not a clue. Care to be kind and fill me in? My name is Ezekiel. I am a fallen angel with whom you created a soul bond contract to save your life from being bound with the demon of greed and lust instead. And my name is Frey? Where are we? Where did we come from? Ezekiel offered Frey a hand and pulled him to his feet. A more important question is, why can you tolerate the sun here? You are a vampire. You should be burning alive at this moment. I do not know which realm we are in to allow such things other than one. I hope I'm wrong in my approximation. You are answering half of my questions on purpose, aren't you? There's too much to explain. We are not safe here in the open, even if you have lost your memories. What could the hunters want if they cause so many Myrna to forget who you are and your purposes or values? Ezekiel's grip was harsh as he lurched them toward an alley between several houses on the village's outskirts. Frey yanked back on the fallen angel's grip when he saw a sign in a language he didn't recognize. Can you understand that, Ezekiel? I wish I couldn't, vampire. That explains why the sun does not bother you. We are in the celestial realm. The sun here is not like the sun of the earth you came from. It is pure, divine light. This is the connecting port between all realms. You can access any other realm from here by hopping into any number of portals. Frey asked. The celestial realm. As in angels, demons, Myrna, humans, all lost souls caught between life and death with the decision to make as to why they are not alive or unalive. Do you genuinely have no recollection who you are, Frey? Frey paused, if only for the angel's entertainment, and shrugged. Still nothing. For all I know, you could be lying to me. Is that a problem? It explains why we are here. You are a realm walker, not an astral mage like your Maren. Ezekiel walked to the other side of the sign and exclaimed in what sounded like relief. Aha! We have a map on this side. Wait a minute. Who is Maren? Your adoptive mother? She's a wise female. I have a mother? Ezekiel's mouth opened and then closed several times over before he asked, Frey, if there was a way for me to help you recover your memory, would you allow me to do so? Frey gripped the sides of his head as if they pounded for release, as if he could not awaken from some poison or brew that failed. Why is it all I want to do is drink, senselessly and endlessly, not alcohol, blood, so much blood. Ezekiel chuckled. Well, that is a sign we are on the right track to bringing you back to who you are, or at least recalling who you were, rather. Let us find you a safe place to stay and change clothes. Your attire is quite out of date and unfitting here. No, I would rather have it mended and clean than remain here without it in place. Ezekiel nodded and motioned for Frey to follow through a few more alleys and streets. If I remembered correctly, an old friend of mine has an inn that we can stay at for the time being. Do you have money? I do not need it with him. Family helps family. Even if they need finding first. Frey read a hand through his long hair and adjusted it to be out of his heavy eyelids. Why do I have this urge to look for a family I do not remember? You have one of the best families, and you will find them again. Let us find you some rest first, my friend. Ezekiel ducked inside of the inn, and Frey looked up at the sky. The sun harms me where I am from. I wonder if I miss it. In case that was true, he studied the brilliant ball of warm amber and gold hovering above his head. Memorizing the sky's blue color and fluffy clouds didn't take too long, but he held the image, if he could, before more pain forced him to glance away. Ezekiel returned with a grin on his face and a set of keys to a room to wave around. Their jingle brought a calming chime to Frey's persona. Ezekiel handed over a set, and Frey admired their intricate design. The fallen angel spoke. You have your own copy. I think it would be wise for you to find sleep. Your physical body is here with you, not only your soul. How do you know that? Frey asked. We wouldn't share our connection and sustain being in two separate bodies here otherwise. If you were dead, you would likely become a fallen angel now that I think about it. Frey bit his lip and hesitated only a moment before asking, was I such a horrible person before we arrived here? As a human, you were lost. As a vampire, you found your family. You still have much to learn. That might be why you are here. Frey nodded and followed without another question. Using the silver strand to loop the key around his neck, he went into the room after taking a final look at the sun. I have a feeling we're going to take a long journey back to what brought us here. Not necessarily a what, more like a who, Ezekiel clarified. Before we talk about your connection to her, though, I think we should focus on your marraine first. Do you remember anything about her? She has dark hair and gold eyes. She's a misfit dreamer, a queen in her own right, and a warrior among her people. Those are the reasons why you admire her and chose her to be your adoptive mother. Ezekiel folded his black wings around himself as if they were a cloak and settled into the bed farthest across the room from the door. Frey clarified, we won't be here for long, will we? I have a feeling that we need to return sooner and not later. Not as fast as you like, Ezekiel laughed. Frey nodded and began to follow until he looked down at his clothes. How did you mend these without me realizing? You will understand soon. As far as how soon? You must keep something in mind, the fallen angel insisted. Lives pass far slower here than in most realms. To balance out their extreme differences in time and space, passing in alignment and not friction with one another. Frey sat on the edge of the bed closest to the door. Thank you, Ezekiel. That is a step in the right direction already. You are usually not so agreeable. Maybe that is a good thing for all parties involved. Ezekiel didn't respond with more than a snore. Frey studied the key hanging around his neck and twirled it in a clockwise direction as he did. Maybe. The room's darkness consumed them in no time, and yet Frey could not bring himself to rest. His mind wandered across the vast nothingness in search of scrubbing the blur off faces. The clues were a start. The clues would be enough for the time being. Marraine, what is your real name? He wasn't certain when he fell asleep. It was still nighttime when he awoke and found himself alone in the room. The last images flittering across his mind were the ones he needed most. Dark hair, gold eyes. She's shorter than I am. Much shorter. The door opened and closed with Ezekiel, and he asked with his winged cloak in place, "Who is?" Frey hesitated before adding, "Maren. I saw a glimpse of her in my dreams. You might witness her dreams from here. Be careful how you interact with people when you sleep. This is the safest place for them to visit you, which is why we landed here. You seem to have more information to share." Ezekiel asked, "Are you ready for a meal? I don't mind sharing, so long as you are not hungry while we talk it out. Experience tells me that is a wise idea." Frey huffed. "I would love to have access to those memories. We might have a solution." We? Yes. Meet a few friends of mine. And then that is where chapter 1 kind of ends off. I see Eva stepped in. Thank you, my friends. If you did want to get your own copy, do not hesitate to check the ebook and the paperback. I hope to have copies of this one with me to attend Fright Reads Book Fest this weekend. But they are on their way to me to have for vendor shows too. So definitely, everyone, thank you for spending a little bit of time with me just right quick, and take care of you. You've always mattered. Dang it.